In today's video, we are going to break down the new changes coming up in the 4th edition of the Occupational Therapy Practice Framework, also known as the OTPF. This will be part 1 of 2 videos. There's a lot to get to, so let's get started. Welcome to the OT Minute. My name is Arno and I'm a 3rd year occupational therapy student. I'm super excited to be talking about the upcoming changes in the OTPF. Now the OTPF is in its pre-publication stage. However, I don't expect that there will be many updates coming out. Most of it will be probably related to more so publication, like editing and making sure everything fits and looks good, so that type of stuff. But the content should be pretty much set at this point. Also, if you want to see the document yourself, there's a link at the bottom. Be sure to check it out and just kind of get a sense of what are the changes that are coming. The OTPF goes through an update every 5 years and is used to help guide occupational therapy practice and education. It gives us a common language and helps occupational therapy as a profession have a clear scope of practice, and it helps us define the occupational therapy process. What's nice is that the document outlines right at the beginning of the document what the updates are to this version versus the OTPF 3. There are 12 modifications or changes that the OTPF tries to accomplish. In this video, we'll walk through 6 of those. Let's go through these changes one by one. The first modification that the document states is that there is an increased focus on group and population clients, and they've provided some additional examples of these. As you go through the document, you'll see a significant increase in emphasis on groups and populations, including a table that's dedicated to examples of clients, which includes groups and populations, and another table which has examples of occupations for persons, groups, and populations. I think this is a really good change, particularly for the direction that OT has been heading. Recently, I reviewed Ann Wilcox's article on Doing, Being, and Becoming. In the article, she describes the scope that she thinks occupational therapy needs to embody to move away from viewing health and well-being from a purely medical model and towards an occupation-focused view of health and well-being. The scope of OT practice becomes particularly interesting when clients are groups or whole populations. I hope to do a video on that article here in the next few weeks, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell if you want to be notified when that comes out. The second change to the OTPF 4 introduces the concept of cornerstones and states that they are foundational to the success of OT practitioners. This is really interesting and something completely new from the OTPF 3. Cornerstones are defined as things of great importance on which everything depends. So these cornerstones that are being introduced are the foundational concepts on which occupational therapy practice rests. It helps to distinguish us from other professions. The more clarity we can have and the more unified language we can have as a profession, the better we can communicate not only who we are and what we believe, but how we're different from other professions and their views and beliefs about health and well-being. There are 4 cornerstones listed. First is that our core values and beliefs are rooted in occupation. Second is our knowledge and expertise in the therapeutic use of occupation. Third is our professional behaviors and dispositions. And fourth is our therapeutic use of self. These 4 cornerstones aren't hierarchical. They're supposed to be dynamically influencing each other. The third thing that this version updates is occupational science and how it's described and defined. The OTPF 4 has a short new section dedicated to it. Occupational science is defined as important to the practice of occupational therapy, and it provides a way of thinking that enables an understanding of occupation, the occupational nature of humans, the relationship between occupation, health, and well-being, and the influences that shape occupation. It also clearly gives credit to occupational science for certain concepts in the OTPF, some of which includes the concept of occupational justice and injustice, identity, use of time or time use, satisfaction, engagement, and performance. I think it's such a nice shout out to our sister profession that helps us to continue to produce research supporting the understanding of occupation and its benefits to health and well-being. Now, the 4th modification that the document aims to accomplish is to define occupation and activity more clearly. The OTPF 4 defines occupation as personalized and meaningful engagement in daily life events by a specific client, and it defines activity as a form of action that is objective and not relative to specific client's engagement or context. The OTPF 3 defined occupations as daily life activities in which people engage, and then it clarified components such as meaning and purposefulness and context and other components of it in subsequent sentences. It described occupations as groups of meaningful activities, so activities were kind of lumped in with occupations. It didn't have as clear of a definition of what activities are as this version. The 5th change are some updates to the table that describes and defines the different types of occupations. First is the definition of sexual activity, which is now defined much much more descriptively as opposed to the OTPF 3, which defined it much more broadly. Secondly, health management is changed to a general category, and it now has subcategories underneath it. Some of these subcategories include social and emotional health promotion and maintenance, symptom and condition management, communication with the healthcare system, medication management, physical activity, nutrition management, and personal care device management. This is a big move in expounding on health management occupations. I love the subcategory of social emotional health promotion and maintenance, which highlights our roots in mental health and validates what I think OTs can contribute in all seasons, but particularly in a season such as this quarantine that we are in, which includes helping individuals, groups, and populations gain skills to promote mental and social well-being in order to prevent secondary health complications. This brings us to the OT question of the day. What do you think about the update of health management as a general category and its subcategories? Let me know what you think by dropping a comment in the comment section. Also, if you like this video so far, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. All right, the last thing that it changed on the occupation domain table is that it changed some things under the social participation subsection. First, it changed that intimate partners is now added as a subsection, and then it divided the friends/peer section into two separate categories. I'd recommend spending a few minutes just reviewing these and getting familiarized with them. The sixth change is that they've simplified the OTPF 3's context and environments domain and now only call it the context domain. This is done to reflect the ICF better so that it helps us to use a better known and better accepted taxonomy. Now, this section has a lot of new details that are interesting and really reflects the updates of our understanding of context. They have added some really interesting new concepts in this section, and they've really revised and reorganized the section completely. The domain of context is now subdivided into environmental factors and personal factors. Environmental factors are defined as aspects of physical, social, and attitudinal surroundings in which people live and conduct their lives. And personal factors are the particular background of a person's life and living and consist of unique features of the person that are not part of a health condition or health state. Environmental factors include natural environment and human-made changes to environment. This includes animate and inanimate elements of the natural or physical environment and components of the environment that have been modified by people, as well as characteristics of human populations within the environment. The second environmental factor is products and technology. This includes natural or human-made products or systems of products, equipment, and technology that are gathered, created, produced, and manufactured. The third environmental factor is support and relationships. This includes people or animals that provide practical physical or emotional support, nurturing, protection, assistance, and connection to other persons in the home, workplace, or school, or at play, or in other aspects of daily occupations. The fourth environmental factor is attitudes. This includes observable evidence of customs, practices, ideologies, values, norms, factual beliefs, and religious beliefs held by people other than the client. The fifth environmental factor is services, systems, and policies. This includes benefits, structured programs, and regulations for operations provided by institutions in various sectors of society designed to meet the needs of persons, groups, and populations. Now let's look at personal factors real quick. This includes things like age, sexual orientation, gender identity, race and ethnicity, cultural identification and cultural attitudes, social background, social status and socioeconomic status, and so forth. Now I have to be honest, I liked the simplicity of the OTPF 3. I think it reflected the ecological occupational therapy models such as the EHP model, the PEO model, the CMOP-E model, and it was just what I was used to. I think it was simpler, easier to remember. However, this does add a ton of details that refreshes our perspective on context. If you are like me, this is a lot to take in, so I highly recommend looking through this section to familiarize yourself with it, since it is organized so differently. Also, I'd love to hear what you think on this section. Drop a comment down below. What do you like about it? And if it was up to you, what would you change? On a side note, if you don't like the changes that are coming down the pike with this version 4, keep in mind that the AOTA does ask for feedback before publishing the pre-publication version. And if you missed the chance previously to give feedback for this document, keep in mind that, again, in 5 years, it's going to be updated. You can give additional feedback. Maybe they'll take it, maybe they won't, but at least you'll have a voice in the process. All right, that is 6 out of 12 changes that the document goes through. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to hear part 2. Thank you so much for joining me on the OT Minute. Stay occupational, my friends. I'll see you in the next video.